Welcome to our In Focus discussion tonight on the Point Redevelopment Project, which would replace the Utah State Prison once it moves out of Draper and near the Salt Lake City International Airport. After hearing input from thousands of Utahns, the plans for the 600 acres of state-owned land is to create a community where people can live, work, and play. Tonight, we'll discuss the details of this project and how the public can chime in. Kicking off our conversation tonight is Draper City Mayor Troy Walker, also board member of the Point of the Mountain State Land Authority. And Mayor, thank you so much for being here tonight. It's good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Mayor, for those who don't know, let's start from the beginning. How did we get to this point? No pun intended. Could you give us some background on the Point of the Mountain State Land Authority that was appointed by the Utah State Legislature in 2018 through HB 372?
Yeah, it actually goes back a little ways to a commission called the Point of the Mountain Authority, the Point of the Mountain Commission. And I served on the Point of the Mountain Commission, and that commission had a couple of years of study, sort of study the entire area, not just the prison site, but the sort of the Middle Earth area, if you will. And we took all the public input, all the public outreach, and that's what really was what framed and informed the legislature when they created, the Point of the Mountain Commission. So it's something we've really been taking public input on for a long time. And we got there from the Point of the Mountain Commission. Now we're at the Point Authority. So that's kind of how we got there.
Who makes up the Land Authority and what were they tasked with?
It's a great board. We have 11 members, 4 members of the state legislature, 2 mayors, myself and Mayor Ramsey from South Jordan. We have 2 directors of state agencies, a person from higher ed and a person from the private sector. Our task is to plan and develop the prison site through the Point. So we have a really unique job and an opportunity to form the plan and to see it, move forward and develop. And so that's our task.
Yeah, everyone is sort of a stakeholder and everyone has a unique perspective to bring to this project. Let's talk about the significance of the location of this site. It's right next to I-15. It's close to Silicon Slopes. It's an area with a lot of growth, and it's located in Utah's 2 most populous counties. Tell me how that's going to play a role, or how it has played a role in all of the planning.
The real estate folks always say location, location, location. This is it. It's right in the spot. It's framed by I-15 Bangor Highway, front runner, and it's really in the location where you can do this unique project. And so it's on the cusp of the 2 counties. It's a great spot. I mean, in a lot of ways, we're fortunate to have had the prison there all these years because this parcel has been preserved, and now it's like a jewel and a gem, and it's ready to become the economic engine we hope it can be.
Now, I should just point out that all these photos that we're seeing on screen are renderings, right?
Yes.
And so this is not what it looks like right now, but this is what it will look like in years to come. So this is a very big project. Tell us briefly about some of the things that went into the planning process for the Point and all of the things that the Land Authority had to consider.
Well, we have some of the top consultants in the world working for us. And so we have our great executive director, Alan Matheson, and as the board, we hired the consulting team. And it's very talented individuals who have done it before, who have done it on the scale that we're doing it. And so we've had study, we've had market analysis, we've looked at the land, the geology, we've looked at the transportation infrastructure, the transit infrastructure that we're going to need. And so it's multifaceted. They've done a lot of work in a fairly short time, and even through COVID, we've been able to keep working, keep planning, and so it's been sort of a really fantastic thing to see all these experts and people that really understand, what we're doing, and I'm really excited about it. I'm very grateful for the talent that we've been able to have helping us.
Now, as a Utahn myself, I remember when the conversation started brewing around what should we do with the Utah State Prison, should we move it? It's been a lot of conversation, and there's a lot of public interest, right, from our residents. And since this is state land, this means that the people of Utah also own the land. So how has the public been involved in the planning process?
We've had public outreach that's quite extensive, thousands of contacts. We've had multiple public meetings and opportunities for people to come and give input, and we've listened to the input. One of the unique things about this site is it's owned by the state of Utah, and we have the luxury of having a great plan and the ability to execute it over time in a way that benefits us. And it's always been my goal that this project benefit the taxpayers of this state, it raises the tide, if you will, economic tide for everyone in Utah, not just my community or the communities around it. I want this to be the economic engine, the economic future for this area. And so that's the kind of stuff that we're looking forward to doing, and we're in a great position to do it. But we've had a lot of public output. We have an open house coming up on Thursday, which you'll talk more about with the next guest, but we encourage people to come to that and go on our website. You know, you can contact us there. There's multiple opportunities and points of contact, but we've had a lot. We've appreciated all of it, and some of it's been very helpful, and we've taken some of the ideas and incorporated them.
Now, Mayor, you wear two hats here because you're part of the board, right, for the Land Authority, and you're also Mayor of Draper, where this site is. So I'd like to kind of pick your brain with how your thoughts and feelings have been about all of these big moves happening under your jurisdiction.
It's exciting, and of course, you know, there's so many moving parts, and the future is always a little bit unknown. So I'm grateful that you have to have a plan. You can't do anything without a plan. We have a plan, and we have a good plan. Now we're going to move forward and execute it. My city has been involved every step of the way. My city manager and our planning department and our team are working closely with the Point. We are by statute authorized to provide all the public services. So it's going to be in Draper. It is in Draper. It's been in Draper. We're looking forward to it to be in something different than a prison. And so we're ready and willing, and we've got our sleeves rolled up. We're going to work on it. We're gonna make sure we're there with the municipal side. And you know, I think most of my residents are excited. You know, they're apprehensive a little bit about traffic and congestion, and we've tried to design this in a way that it's different than anything else. It's going to be, the car's not going to be the king here. This is going to be a place where you can get around and do it without a vehicle and really enjoy all the open space and trail amenities that we have near it. So we're really excited about it.
Yeah, Mayor, we have time for final thoughts. What would you like to leave our viewers with, or maybe what would you like to say to individuals that maybe don't live exactly near the area, and maybe why they should have an interest in what's going to happen at the Point?
Well, for the last 65, 67 years that the prison has been there, we haven't really collected any revenue from that piece of real estate. Now, it's been an important part. We've done the service and the duty that you have to do. You have to have a place for corrections. But now, if you don't live here and if you're maybe not near it, why it matters to you is this is still going to be an economic engine for the entire state. The jobs that are going to come, the opportunities that are going to come are going to benefit all of us, even if you live in Iron County. One of our board members, Lowry Snow, lives in Washington County. And we look at it as a state project to benefit the state of Utah, and it will. And so if you're wondering, that's what's going to happen. From now on, it's going to be a producing area. And we're excited.
Great, thank you so much. You've been hearing from Draper City Mayor Troy Walker, also board member of the Point of the Mountains State Land Authority. And Mayor, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us for our second In Focus discussion tonight on the Point Redevelopment Plan. Up next in our conversation is Alan Matheson, Executive Director for the Point. Alan, thanks for joining us tonight and welcome back to the station.
Thanks, it's great to be with you, Rosie.
Alan, now that we've gone over some history with Mayor Walker, let's get into the actual details of the project. How will the Point address some of the needs that are unique to Utah?
We want this to be a true Utah project, one that the people of the state can be proud of. And really the driving principle behind all we're doing is to make life better for the people of the state. So we've looked at ways that this is a unique Utah site. You look at the beauty around it, the mountains that are close by, so we've tried to design it in a way that brings the mountains and the views into the site. We recognize that we live in a place that's dry, and we need to use our limited and precious water resources very well. So we're designing it to be very low water use and really be a model of sustainable development. We also recognize we've got some challenges with air quality, and so we're minimizing emissions, finding ways to use cars less, and make sure that this is really an asset for the people of the state.
Alan, how is this development project going to address some of the concerns that Utahns have with traffic, jobs, growth?
You know, we've been the fastest growing state in the country over the last 10 years, and that does create challenges. And we think that we've got a responsibility to show how we can grow in a way that's thoughtful, that addresses some of those concerns. So with respect to transportation, this is going to be a future-focused, cutting-edge transportation project. Access to Front Runner, a new transit system going through the site. Within the site, we'll have an internal circulator, probably electric and autonomous, that'll allow people to get through the site easily. We also want to make sure that people can walk and get around the site within easy distance. So that's a real commitment that we have. With respect to jobs, this is a site that we think will be an innovation center for the state, a place where we will do research to help solve some of the challenges that we face in the state, a place where new ideas can be commercialized and become businesses. So overall, we expect that there will be roughly 35,000+ jobs created at the site.
Alan, do you think this is going to be a place that people would want to visit even if they don't live in the area or near the area?
Yeah, we really hope so. We want this to be a regional destination. And this site will have an entertainment retail center with great shopping, performance venues, and a lot of great open spaces where people can come and be with their family and friends, recreate, or just enjoy being near nature.
And we've been hearing that this area will be a live, work, and play community. And it makes me think of areas like Daybreak, for example. Sort of an area that is almost its own town or community, even like Sugar House. What is that going to look like for the Point?
You know, we're designing this as a 15-minute community, which is kind of a new planning concept. And the idea is that you can access any of the daily needs in life within about a 15-minute walk. So this is a place that will have housing for a range of people, great jobs, retail, recreation, all within an easy walking distance.
Talk about the housing aspect of this. You know, housing has been such a hot topic in Utah just because of our growth. Do you know how many units we're going to have in this Point redevelopment, rental, owned, and what's the price point that the Land Authority is thinking about?
We want this to be a welcoming community, a diverse community, a place where people of all walks of life will want to live. And so housing is an important part of that, and we expect to have a real mix of housing types, some single families, some apartments, some condos, townhomes, and they'll be priced at different points to accommodate those who will work on the site. Certainly having a good housing mix will help attract some of the talent that we want at this area and reduce the off-site traffic generation.
Alan, what's next in this process and what does the remaining timeline look like? I'm wondering when we'll actually see, you know, the town bustle up and start operating and people moving around and us being able to see them from the freeway.
Well, we're excited to get started. We've now got this framework plan, and it certainly will evolve over time as we get better information and better ideas, but it's giving us clear direction. So the next step is to head into the implementation phase. The site will be available, we think, about a year from now. We'll start preparing the site for development. I think people might start to see some of the infrastructure going in 2023 and some of the building going up in about 2024, 2025.
Okay, so we're talking about within the next 3 to 5 years, this place will pretty much be up and coming. It sounds like the public can still inquire about information. Can you tell us about the open house event that will take place later this week?
Absolutely. We've relied on the public to give us great ideas, to help us through this process, and that's not going to end. But on Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Fred House Academy in Draper, we'll have a public open house, and we'll share the details of this framework plan. We'll gather input from the public, and members of the public will have an opportunity to meet with subject matter experts to learn more about the plan, ask questions, and provide input. So we welcome you there.
Alan, we have time for final thoughts. What would you like to leave our viewers with tonight?
We're taking this very seriously, and we understand that we have a public trust, that we need to make sure that this opportunity creates jobs for people, creates great quality of life. And we appreciate so much the input we've received and will continue to receive. But again, our driver is improving life for people in the state.
You've been hearing from Alan Matheson, Executive Director for The Point. And Alan, thank you so much for being here again and providing us with this update.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome to our third and final In Focus discussion tonight on the Point Redevelopment Project. Rounding out our conversation tonight is Peter Kindle, Lead Planning Director for Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, which is an architecture firm. And Peter, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Rosie. Great to be here.
Now, earlier, Alan talked briefly about the outdoor recreational space that will be included in the development. Could you share more details, such as about the trails, the parks, and the open space?
Yeah, it was really a critical part of the plan, a real important part of the plan. We were really excited to have that aspect of the master plan. And I think when we think of Utah, at least as our design team thought about Utah, that connection to the outdoors is really quite important. And we wanted to make sure that that was incorporated into the master plan.
Now, what about transportation? Tell us about the connected street grid and the high-capacity roadway.
Yeah, so one of the design ideas we had was to use the existing Salt Lake street grid as a starting point, but to create a more connected system with smaller blocks, slightly smaller streets. And this creates the ability to move through the project in a more direct way. So it's really a unique development block that we think is going to be really effective and appropriate for this development. But then complementing that is a series of pedestrian passageways that are narrow connections between neighborhoods, almost like green alleyways, and other types of trail connections and pedestrian and bikeways. So there's really a rich network of connections in the project that we're really excited about.
It makes it really easy to commute around. And
Yeah.
One thing that you all have emphasized is that bikes and pedestrians will be the priority in this development.
That's right.
Can you talk about how easy it's going to be for people to commute without a car in the area?
Yeah, that was one of our objectives, was to provide an alternate to commuting with the car. So it's not that we're trying to exclude cars from the project, they're accommodated here. But we want to provide options for people. What we're seeing with innovation districts globally is that the types of workers that are attracted to tech industries and R&D work tend to be younger, tend to be looking for working and living arrangements where they don't necessarily need a car. They might want to walk to work or they might want to ride a bike. So we wanted to make sure the project included or elevated that means of commuting to the same level as a car. So it's a very balanced transportation plan, and we're hoping that people from off-site will ride their bike to the project if they work here, or if they live here and work somewhere else, they can ride using the Jordan River trails or using some of the trails in the foothills.
Let's go a little bit more into that. I was just going to ask you about transportation in and out of the area.
Yeah.
Will there be ease of access to the foothills or maybe across busy thoroughfares like I-15?
Yeah. I mean, one of the really special parts of the project is because it's been a prison site for so long, there's not a lot of road connections through the project. So the plan proposes 14 new road connections through the site. So we think this is going to create what we call connectivity in the road grid. And this will allow traffic to move freely through the project, both bike and pedestrian and automobile traffic. We also have bus rapid transit that will connect up to the Draper front runner station. And we've even designed the plan to accommodate, if necessary, future connections to front runner. So there's a lot of aspects to the transportation plan, and I think, as Mayor Walker said earlier, we really want to reconnect the site to the community of Draper and Bluffdale because it's been separated for so many years.
Now, as the lead planning director and as an architect yourself, what excites you the most when it comes to the design of the individual elements and designing this entire community as a whole?
Yeah, I think several things really got the design team excited, and I do want to emphasize this was a team effort. We had many talented professionals addressing many of the problems and opportunities of the site. But I think there's a lot of really innovative design ideas here, from the smaller grid of streets to the bicycle connections to the pedestrian passageways. For me, what's important is this connection to nature, that everybody who lives and works here is going to be within about 500 feet of public open space and a bikeway or pedestrian way. So there's a lot of really, I think, innovative design concepts that hopefully will set a standard for the Wasatch Front for development down the road. Because as a design team, our objective was really to think 20 or even 30 years ahead and anticipate what people might be wanting in 20 years. And again, as I mentioned, what we're seeing is people that will be working and living here really are looking for new amenities that they can access easily from where they live and from where they work. So a lot of really neat little features, and I would encourage everybody in the public, if they want to continue to learn more about the project, to come to our open house on Thursday. And the process will continue. This is really one milestone in, as Mayor Walker said, a series of steps that will get us to construction here, hopefully soon.
All right, you've been hearing from Peter Kindle, Lead Planning Director for Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, which is an architecture firm. And Peter, thank you so much for sharing this info and joining us tonight.
Thank you, Rosie.
And don't forget, we'd love to hear from you about the show. We invite you to join our Facebook group by searching for ABC4 In Focus, or send us an email, infocus@abc4.com.